Have you ever felt like the world is getting dumber? Like people are struggling more and more to think critically, interpret basic information, or even have a conversation without falling into nonsense? If so, you're not alone. In recent years, there's been a growing sense that human intelligence is declining. Just scroll through social media and you'll see shallow debates, fake news, and extreme opinions based on nothing but gut feelings. But are people really getting dumber, or are we just seeing things differently? Science has some surprising answers to this question. And what if I told you that yes, there is evidence suggesting that our cognitive abilities are declining? But at the same time, maybe it's not exactly what it seems. In this video, we'll explore why this might be happening, what biology, technology, and culture have to do with it, and, most importantly, how to avoid falling into the trap. By the end, you'll see that even in this troubling scenario, there's a huge opportunity for those who know how to take advantage of it. So if you want to understand what's happening to human intelligence and how it affects your life, keep watching. Let's start at the beginning. What does science say about the decline of intelligence? Believe it or not, the idea that we're getting dumber isn't just an illusion. Scientists have been studying this for decades and have found something concerning. The average IQ seems to be dropping. This contradicts something called the Flynn effect, which showed that throughout the 20th century, human intelligence was steadily increasing. But in recent years, that trend has either slowed down or started reversing, especially in some European countries. Why is this happening? The answer isn't simple. Some scientists believe environmental factors like pollution, diet, and lifestyle are affecting our brains. Others argue that social and educational changes are making people less skilled at solving complex problems. Technology also plays a role. Today, we don't need to memorize much. Any answer is just a quick Google search away. While this makes life easier, it also makes us more dependent on external tools and less capable of deep, analytical thinking. On top of that, constant digital stimulation is shortening our attention spans. We consume so much fast, surface-level content that our brains are adapting to this new pace, possibly making it harder to engage in deep thinking over time. So are we really getting dumber? The short answer is maybe, but not in the way you'd expect. The real issue isn't a lack of intelligence, it's that we're using it less and less. And that leads us to an even bigger question. If we have unlimited access to knowledge, why are we getting more misinformed? If intelligence is declining while access to information is exploding, how does that make sense? After all, anyone can look up anything at any time. In the past, learning required effort, books, libraries, research. Now, a simple tap on a screen can answer any question. So why does it feel like we're getting more ignorant? The answer lies in how we consume information. It's not that we know fewer facts, it's that we're less willing to think critically about them. The problem isn't a lack of data, but an overwhelming flood of it. With so much information bombarding us, our brains take shortcuts, favoring what's easy over what's accurate. That's where social media algorithms come in. They feed us what we like, not what challenges us. Instead of engaging with deep, meaningful content, we're drawn to quick, digestible bits that confirm what we already believe. The result? A society that feels informed but actually isn't. This creates an era of superficiality. People read headlines but not the full article. They watch short clips but never the full video. Opinions are shaped by memes instead of research. The outcome? A generation that knows a little about everything but deeply understands nothing. Another consequence of this is the rise of echo chambers. Since algorithms prioritize content that reinforces our beliefs, we become trapped in bubbles of confirmation bias. Instead of being challenged, we're spoon-fed opinions that make us feel right, even when we're wrong. When people stop questioning, misinformation thrives. Fake news spreads faster than facts. Science is replaced by opinions, and little by little, society swaps knowledge for assumptions, making it increasingly vulnerable to manipulation. But the big question remains, how did we get here? What made intelligence take a back seat while blind confidence took over? The answer might lie in how the human mind works. If we have more access to information than ever, why do so many people seem incapable of logical thinking? One answer lies in a psychological phenomenon called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It shows that the less people know, the more confident they are in their opinions. In other words, ignorance creates a false sense of expertise. This explains why we see so many people speaking with absolute certainty about topics they barely understand. And in today's world, where opinions are treated as facts, the loudest voices often seem the smartest, whether they are or not. Another key issue is the rise of superficiality. Today, the goal isn't to understand a subject, it's to have a quick opinion on it. Instead of deep reading, we prefer short videos. Instead of thoughtful reflection, we want instant answers. Critical thinking, which requires time and effort, is being replaced by convenient sound bites. This leads to another major problem, the replacement of knowledge with influence. True experts are often ignored, while influencers and celebrities take their place. It's not about who knows more, it's about who entertains more. The world no longer values those who think deeply. It values those who capture attention. This culture also creates the illusion of quick learning. There are thousands of courses promising to turn anyone into an expert in just days. But real learning takes time, practice, and effort. When people think they can skip these steps, they end up accumulating surface-level knowledge without truly understanding anything. Then there's another factor, the fear of looking stupid. Instead of admitting when we don't know something and taking the time to learn, we pretend we already understand. But that mindset prevents real growth, because in the end, the only way to become smarter is to accept how much there is still to learn. So now what? If the world is becoming more shallow and easily manipulated, is there any way out? The answer lies in optimistic nihilism, and how this perspective can be an opportunity for those who know how to use it. If everything we've discussed so far is true, the world is becoming a place where critical thinking is increasingly rare. But what if, instead of seeing this as a disaster, we viewed it as an opportunity? This is where optimistic nihilism comes in. If intelligence is in decline, then those who develop the ability to think critically will have a huge advantage. In a world where most people consume information passively, those who analyze, reflect, and question will stand out. The first step to escaping this trend is simple. Start questioning again. Don't accept information at face value. Dig deeper, verify sources, and think beyond the surface. The rarer critical thinking becomes, the more valuable it will be. Another key strategy is to learn deeply instead of just collecting information. Many people today believe they're well-informed simply because they've seen a few headlines. But true intelligence comes from making connections between ideas, challenging assumptions, and developing independent thought. And most importantly, use this as an advantage. If the majority of people are falling into the trap of superficiality, that means those who cultivate real knowledge will have more opportunities, whether in their careers, personal growth, or decision-making. But how do we apply this in a practical way? How can we truly break free from the cycle of collective ignorance and train our minds to think independently? If the world is becoming more shallow and superficial, the best response isn't to complain, it's to take action. You can't change society overnight, but you can change the way you interact with knowledge and reality. The first step is reclaiming your attention. Right now, our ability to focus is completely broken. If you can't go 5 minutes without checking your phone, how can you expect to develop critical thinking? Training your brain to resist distractions is the first step to becoming a real thinker. Next, you need to learn to think independently. Instead of passively consuming whatever shows up on your screen, actively seek different sources, question everything, and dive deeper into topics. Never settle for the first explanation. Keep looking until you truly understand. Another crucial point: let go of the idea that you need to know everything. Many people are afraid to admit they don't know something, but that's exactly where real learning starts. Intelligence isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing how to ask the right questions and where to find reliable information. Finally, use this advantage. In a world where stupidity is becoming the norm, those who know how to think will stand out. Instead of getting lost in the chaos, you can turn this situation into an opportunity. The choice is yours. Follow the flow of superficiality or become someone who truly thinks. So are we really getting dumber? Maybe not in the traditional sense, but our ability to think deeply is being weakened by the way we consume information. Intelligence hasn't disappeared. We're just using it less and less. But as we've seen, that doesn't mean all hope is lost. In fact, this might be a great opportunity. In a world where most people are stuck in shallow distractions, those who develop critical thinking will have a huge advantage. The secret is simple. Reclaim your focus, seek real learning, and never settle for easy answers. Intelligence has never been more accessible, but it requires effort. The difference between getting lost in collective ignorance and standing out depends entirely on how you use your time and attention. Now, the final question: what will you do with this? Will you take the easy road, consuming shallow content and living on autopilot? Or will you take this chance to become someone who truly thinks? If this video made you reflect, leave a comment and share your thoughts. Do you think people are actually getting dumber? Or are we just losing our ability to think deeply? I'd love to hear your take. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.